Yeah, boy.
Delicious. Oh crap. There we go. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Welcome back to another episode of The Mind of Mando. If you guys are at work, your shift's almost over, and if you guys are working graveyard, it's time to get up. You gotta get into work soon. But yeah. Hope everybody's doing great. It's been a while. As you guys know, today at work, I was looking at my podcast channel and everything, just like, oh man, I really should do another one. It's been 3 weeks since the last upload. Time flies. I honestly didn't feel like it was that long, but it was. Music is a little different in the background. The reason so is because of what we're going to be talking about in a bit. Just one topic, really, but, you know, it might take a while. Before I get into all that, I just want to let you guys know. Well, just want to say thank you for bearing with me. I think I said this in the last episode also, or whatever, but these past 3 weeks, I mean, they were fun. Well, small parts were fun. But for me personally, it's just, I wasn't in the great state or anything like that. And even though I wanted to record a podcast episode, just the desire just really wasn't there. So, you know, turn it down a little bit. But, you know, things are slowly getting better. And I just slowly started feeling like I had more of the desire to do so. And here I am finally sitting down. My lady is currently at work. I don't know when she's going to come back home. Probably soon because she has work tomorrow. But she's at work right now. I worked earlier today. Got off. We had some leftover turkey. I hope every single one of you has had an incredible Thanksgiving week. Whether you spent it with your family, your loved ones, your friends, or even just by yourself. No shame in that. No shame at all. You know, hope it was at least some point there you guys were content with everything like that. And even for those who worked, you know, I grew up not celebrating anything. So, you know, now I just don't really care for holidays at all. I usually chose to work because that just means extra money, that holiday pay and everything, and some extra money in my wallet. But, you know, didn't do that this year. And actually, I didn't mind because I had Thursday, Friday off, and my lady also had Thursday, Friday off on top of her regular weekend. So she had 4 days off, lucky. And how do you say it? We actually, for the first time in a bit of over a year, we got to have 2 actual days off together, and I loved it. Like, with the way I was feeling lately and everything like that, those 2 days off meant a lot. And it actually helped me lift my spirits up, my mood up for a bit. And really, really glad it happened. I don't mind that I didn't get the holiday pay. It's fine because those 2 days was just what I needed. Funny story real quick. In Spanish, you know, the way things are supposed to be said in Spanish. Turkey, it's well, at least here, it's typically called pavo. Spelling is P-A-V as in Victor O. Pavo. what I taught my lady this past Thursday when we went to Ralph's, was that on top of other words that she had no idea existed, she's never heard of before, but they were common in my household growing up. I told her about how we said turkey, and she was like, "Isn't it just pavo, pavo, this and that?" And I'm like, "Well, typically yes, but I was like, in my household for Guatemalans, we say it differently. We don't say pavo, we say chompipe." And she kind of like laughed. She's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, chompipe. That's how Guatemalans say turkey, you know? That's how we grew up saying it. That's how I grew up saying it. That's how I say it." But, you know, it's not as common down here in San Diego. It's more common up north from the Bay because it's a lot more diverse. You hear other ways to say turkey in Spanish in different regions of Latin America and everything. But what do you call it? Down here, not so much. Not so much down here in San Diego. Understandably so, because we're right next to the border into Mexico. So you're gonna have a lot of Mexicans. And that's exactly what it is. A lot of Mexicans over here. But yeah, chompipe. Something new. I bet you guys didn't know. Now you know. How do you call it? Again, just want to apologize and thank you at the same time for bearing with me when it comes down to my later and later uploading patterns and everything. Well, anyways, let me fix myself real quick. Oh, and I just been, if I take a break during this episode to go use the bathroom, I'm sorry. I just been intaking a lot of water lately. Like, I have a gallon jug that I've just been killing every single day so far. So yeah, just water seems to just go through me. 1 second. Oh man, water's delicious. Well, anyways, if you guys couldn't tell from the background music, we're gonna be talking about none other than what came out the other week. And that is going to be the new Black Panther movie. Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, you know. But before we get into that, let me just start off with the first one. I'm going to do my best to make this go by as quickly as possible. But this needs to be said. The first Black Panther movie wasn't really good. Not at all. It just wasn't good, you know? And this is not just coming out of me by like, oh, I watched it once the year it was released. I think like 2018, I think. Yeah. And that was it. No. I rewatched it again. And I rewatched it again. And I rewatched it the same week the second one was going to come out. Because, like, that's what I do. If I really, really like a movie, I won't get tired rewatching it. But I also rewatch it if I feel like how do you say it? I need to give it an even more fair chance. And maybe I missed something. Maybe I, didn't really appreciate it for what it had to offer, what it showed and everything. So I rewatched it again a couple of times. My mind did not change at all. Like, I gave it a fair shot. I gave it more than a fair shot. And it just wasn't good to me. I was bored. That's really how I can describe it. I was bored watching this movie. I mean, and the more I watched it, the more I wondered. It's like, why did people hype this up after it released initially? Like, you have people coming out of the theaters just dancing in the walkway, getting in the way of people trying to get to their movie and everything like that. You have people just absolutely just saying, "Oh, it's the best picture." That was a joke, but it's like, "Oh, it's the best picture, the best story, the best everything, the best cast, yada yada. It's just the best. Oh my god, it needs all these nominations." And it's just like, it wasn't though. Like, even the CGI, even the whole CGI thing, the CGI wasn't good, you know? Well, I won't say all the CGI. Like, when they did, like, the overlooking all of Wakanda, that was a great thing to look at and everything. When they did, like, visually, when they had people dress up in, like, African garms and everything like that, doing African traditions with African jewelry and African music and everything. It was great. That looked really good, in my opinion. It looked awesome. But other than that, when it came down to the fights that had to take place in the Black Panther costume, the fights that had to take place between two superpowered heroes in an otherworldly suits in a fake technologically advanced city where literally there was zero people on the screen. It was all 100% purely CGI. It wasn't good. I wasn't impressed. I was actually really disappointed and glad at the same time. Disappointed because I was lied to. This isn't good. But glad at the same time because I didn't spend money in the theaters to watch it. I just used one of those pirated sites. 1 second. And before anybody says, "Oh, pirated sites, no wonders you didn't get good quality," I have Disney Plus, and I have a relatively large TV in my living room, and it has crystal clear picture, and I watched it on there more than once. Still wasn't good. Well, anyways, so yeah, it just I like those things. It was just the CGI was bad. The movement was too rubbery. What do I mean by that? Let's say you have two rubber guys, like toys when you were kids, and they were made out of pure rubber. If you start throwing around those rubber toys of those guys just everywhere, you'll see how they'll kind of like flop here and there because they're rubber. That's how the CGI movement looked, and it wasn't great. But what do you call it? And I feel like the action scenes just weren't as great as I was hoping them to be. I actually had a good amount of high expectations for the action scenes of this movie because it's Black Panther. He's sick. Did you see Black Panther in Civil War? He was dope. His costume, I don't like this new costume that they introduced in that movie because his original costume and everything from Civil War was actually sick. That was hella cool. I liked it. It's like, and like the movement. The movement in Civil War for the Black Panther was good. That was actually multiple steps higher than what they gave us in the original Black Panther movie. Well, anyways. But yeah, even the car chases. The car chases in that movie were just boring. It just wasn't good. I wasn't excited. My heart wasn't pumping or anything like that. You want an example of a good car chase in a comic book movie? Batman versus Superman, the Batmobile chase. With Batman behind the Batmobile. That was dope. That was sick. But these car chases just were like... I think it was the fact that the shots were too clean. And again, it relied too heavily on the CGI. It just wasn't exciting to me. Well, anyways, but what really made me not like the movie, aside from the obvious white person is the colonizer theme that they had going on, was that there wasn't any real risk. Well, aside from T'Challa, but there wasn't real risk. Like, think about it. You watch the movie and everything like that, and who's supposed to be the antagonist of the movie? Not Claw. Claw was treated more like a henchman, even though Claw in the comics was supposed to be his own villain and everything, formidable one at that. But Claw was treated like a henchman. The main antagonist of that movie was Killmonger. He was the one who was supposed to be like the one that was supposed to really push all of Wakanda like over the edge and just really like take it by storm and all that stuff. He was cool. I mean, he's played by Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan's pretty dope, Not that great in the Fantastic Four reboot, but you seen Creed? I haven't seen Creed, but Creed looks pretty dope, you know. But yeah, so what do you call it? He played a good Killmonger. I liked his demeanor. I liked how he carried himself and everything like that. Because, you know, Killmonger, he's supposed to be Wakandan also by blood. But what do you call it? He was born and raised in Oakland. You know, being from the Bay, I could tell you when that movie came out and homies in Oakland went to go see it, as soon as they saw those words pop out on the screen at the very beginning of the movie, everybody just cheered their ass off and everything. It was great. It's great. Taking place in the Bay and everything. But what do you call it? He's mad because his uncle, who at the time was King T'Chaka, King of Wakanda, killed his uncle. And killed his father, and everything, who was also supposed to be a Wakandan spy who ended up falling into the same thing he was supposed to be spying on and everything. Well, what do you call it? Basically, the whole thing was he wanted to get back to Wakanda because he felt that he was, you know, the one that was fit to actually be the rightful ruler of the entire country of Wakanda, because he grew up in the ghetto. He grew up in poverty. He grew up around gangs and negativity, and he knows what the average common man has to go through, has to experience. He knows how it's like. He wasn't pampered growing up. He wasn't treated like royalty. He wasn't being like put on a pedestal. He wasn't carried wherever he wanted to be carried. He wasn't able to indulge in all these fancy foods and great riches and incredible sights. No, he grew up in the slums. He grew up in the ghetto and the crack roads of Oakland and everything. That thing is harsh. That thing is difficult and everything. I know. I lived in Oakland part of my life, and it sucked. I'm telling you, it's not a good place. But what do you call it? So one, he wants to get avenge his father, but two, he wants to take over the throne. So he finally manages to sneak into Wakanda and everything. And he challenges T'Challa. Oh, that's one thing that the movie also introduced, was able to convey actually really good. The fact that Wakanda was able to prosper, was able to just technologically prosper because of vibranium. Because, you know, vibranium landed on their land and everything like that. They were able to hide their city. They were able to keep to themselves. And they were able to become one of the wealthiest, most powerful country in the face of the earth. And what do you call it? Killmonger felt like he needed to be there to take over everything. Thing that the movie also introduced was the fact that they could keep their technological advancements while also simultaneously keeping in touch and keeping their traditions alive, keeping their culture alive. You know, they were able to blend the future and the past together. One of the things that it was this basically trial by combat, where every so often all the tribes get together. The Black Panther has his powers taken away, so he can just be a normal human, and it's a trial by combat between different tribes for the throne. And as far as I can tell, it wasn't a discrimination between men and women. I think the first time they showed it in the movie, it was all men, but I'm pretty sure women can fight for the throne too. 1 second. Oh man, my throat sucks. So Killmonger gets there, and he challenges T'Challa, and T'Challa's like, I am not doing this and everything, but ultimately he does it. Has his powers taken away, and he faces off against Killmonger. When he faces off against Killmonger, let me tell you, Killmonger was whooping that ass. And like, oh my God. And then like, you know, he was just pissed. I get it. He was pissed. He was angry. His cousin, because that was his cousin, was like, oh yeah, you're out here living this luxurious life, and I had to struggle my entire life. This and that. This is for my father and everything. And as he's beating T'Challa's ass, he's like, this is your king. And he like knees him. This is your king. And he like hits him again. This is who you're supposed to be relying on. This is who you're supposed to be willing to like fight for or whatever. He's supposed to protect you. This is your king. And I was like, this fool was taunting him and talking mad smack. It's just, he was like, I'm telling you, aside from the corny, like, oh, my people, my ancestors taken from the colonizers, slaves and everything. Aside from all that, Killmonger was a real dope character. I liked him. I like that Michael B. Jordan portrayed him. He was chill, Well, anyways, he ends up winning, shockingly. And he throws T'Challa over a waterfall to kill him and everything like that. And it was like, But they can't do nothing. Because these are the trials. This is what tradition was since the beginning, And the rules were like you either yield or die during these combats. And like they're surprised and they're crying like, oh my God, you killed my son or my brother or whatever, or king. And it's just like, well, he was just following tradition. He knew the rules. Like, why are you shocked? It sucks, yeah, but why are you shocked? Well, anyways, that reminds me of Skyrim. You guys play Skyrim? Well, basically, if you play the main storyline, the whole thing was that the Stormcloaks are fighting against the Imperials for their reasons. Basically for the same thing, but different ways of going at it and everything. But the reason in the beginning when Ulfric Stormcloak was gagged and bound and everything like that and was going to meet the executioner's axe before Alduin came in, started destroying all of Helgen. The reason Ulfric Stormcloak was caught was because he felt that the High King Torrig, was unfit to be a king and everything. And one thing that they had was trial by combat and everything, where the king tried to kill his opponent, and the opponent tried to kill the king. That's what they did. That was their tradition and everything. The only thing is, when High King Torrig accepted Ulfric Stormcloak's challenge to fight for the death and everything, there was no rules, as far as we know, specifying how someone had to be killed, just that someone had to die and everything by the other person. So what happened? They fought for like a bit, and then Ulfric Stormcloak, being trained by the Greybeards, used the voice and shouted the High King to death. And he won. People in Solitude thought that was cheating. And they were like, oh, let's kill Ulfric, this is and that. And when Ulfric ran, only one Stormcloak from Solitude kept the gate open so Ulfric can get out. That's why when you visit Solitude later on in the game, the first thing you see on your right is the man being executed, because apparently he betrayed them, but he was arguing like, hey, he won. That's literally what our tradition is. He won. Why'd you guys try and kill him? I was only following tradition rules and this and that, but he still got killed. Who cares? People are mad. When people get mad at anything, they're like, to hell with tradition. I'm gonna fight with my feelings. Well, anyways, Killmonger threw T'Challa off a waterfall, and he ended up going through the ritual to have the herb, drink the herb, and go through the spirit realm or whatever, and become the next Black Panther. After he did that, he ordered everybody to burn the rest of the flowers that give the power. And yeah, so he was like, nah, we're done with this. We're done with these trials. We're done. No one else is the Black Panther but me. But yeah, excuse me. Well, anyways, that plays into my whole, the only person that had anything to lose was T'Challa. Everybody else stayed alive, everybody else just was a mess after that. It was just, anyways. T'Challa was fished out from the river by a fisherman, and when the fisherman saw T'Challa, he took it up to M'Baku's fortress and everything. And M'Baku and his men decided to try and keep T'Challa alive. And so when Shuri, the mother, and T'Challa's girlfriend, Nakia, decided to try and look for him and everything, and then M'Baku ended up telling them, like, look, we've been keeping him alive this entire time. It just so happens that Nakia had one herb left in her bag. She's like, oh, here it is. Let's give it to T'Challa. T'Challa comes back. He's the Black Panther. He goes back to Wakanda and he's like, I am not dead. The rules were to be for death. I am still here and everything. And African accent's horrible. Well, anyways, Kilmonger's like, nah, we done with all that. And it's just like, no. You can't do that either, sir. The rules specifically said either someone has to yield or they die. T'Challa didn't yield. He didn't. At all. And he didn't die. It doesn't matter that this was like days or weeks ago. He is still alive. He still did not yield. And he's still ready to continue fighting. There you go. You got to fight him. That's the point where Killmonger became a busta. It's just like he decided to like not follow the rules. Well, anyways, the whole fight happens. The whole last fight happens. This is where you really see the crap CGI. You know? Like I said earlier, the car chase was boring. I mean, the trial combat was pretty cool from time to time and everything. It wasn't like, oh my god, you know, it wasn't no Spider-Man punching the goblin, but how do you call it? The final fight, which was supposed to be this whole epic thing, it just wasn't. Why? Because like I said earlier, there was no actual risk. There was no risk for loss or anything like that. All the main characters were going to stay alive, you know? We knew they weren't going to die. We knew they weren't going to really be hurt or anything like that. And like the dual ex machina trope where someone looks like they're about to seriously die and then something else happens to save them, that's just been done to death, you know? And it was boring. And the rhinos, dude, it's just like, I get it. Oh, we can't really put armor on a real rhino and send him out charging this and that. And to that I say, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, airplane taking off. Search that up. All right. Well, anyways, so everything from that point forward is CGI. Well, here's the thing. I know at one point, I'm gonna say this because it's gonna play into the second movie. Okoye, is that her name? Yeah, the one who plays the Black Samurai in The Walking Dead. Her, she's part of the Dora Milaje. I'm gonna get into the Dora Milaje soon. She's part of the Dora Milaje. They are loyal to the King of Wakanda, to the Queen of Wakanda. Whoever the rulers of Wakanda are, the Dora Milaje are loyal to them. They hated Killmonger. They hated him, but they stayed true to what they needed to do. They are loyal to that throne of Wakanda. So even though they hated him, they had to fight for him, and that's exactly what they did. Well, here's the thing. There's another branch of these fools that like they cover their long poncho style things, and out comes a shield and everything of energy. How vibranium does that, I don't know, but it does. A shield of energy. This one dude is fighting against her and everything, and they're fighting to each other. Towards the end, you find out that they love each other. They are romantically involved in everything, except he is fighting against Killmonger because he doesn't believe that Killmonger is the rightful ruler of Wakanda, and she is bound by her oath and loyalty to the throne of Wakanda. So even though they love each other and they care about each other and romantic with each other, it's like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type of thing, kind of, you know? One second, I get some water. My throat's hella raspy. Sorry. Excuse me. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoy the music in the background. So, what do you call it? So yeah, like I said, I only mentioned that because I'm gonna bring it up later. Well, anyways, what else happened? Oh yeah, so T'Challa and Killmonger have their epic last battle. Like I said earlier, it's hard to make a CGI futuristic or technologically advanced suit, CGI people, a CGI train, and CGI world look realistic when there's so much things going on, you know? And honestly, that final fight was very, very lackluster. I feel like Killmonger's suit really wasn't that good looking either. I get what they were trying to do, because I think in the comics, Killmonger dresses up as a leopard while T'Challa is a Black Panther. But since, you know, he essentially in the movie took one of Black Panther's suits and like customized it to have like teeth and stuff. It just looked like Black Panther majority of the times. Unless you really looked at it, then you were able to see the teeth on the mask and like some spots, but it really looked the same. But yeah. It ended with Killmonger, like, you know, he knew he was going to die. And T'Challa knew he was going to die. T'Challa was victorious. And Killmonger's out in the edge, looking at the sunset. And he's like, let me just stare at the ocean where my ancestors decided to drown instead of becoming slaves. This, and that. And to that I say, are they really your ancestors if they died before they could have any descendants? You know? I don't know, maybe, but that's just what I think about. Hey, well, when the movie ends, Killmonger dies, and Wakanda goes back to normal. There you go, boom, happy ending, yada yada. So yeah, so that's the end of the first one. Like I said, not great. I don't like it. I wasn't a fan of it. It just really, I gave it a shot. Like I said, I gave him multiple shots. Did not like the movie. 1 second, let me just change the music cause it's ending. Fake news. While I'm looking for a song, let me just tell you guys that my lady and I this past Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, we ended up going to see Cannibal Corpse. Here in San Diego. They played at the North Park, what is that called? Amphitheater? I don't know. But they played there, and it was pretty dope. Oh my god, what else can I put down? Jesus Christ. 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Alright, let's play this, see what they got. Oh snap. Not bad. Alright. My cat chef listening to it. Well, now we're moving on to Black Panther 2. Like I said, I tried to watch the first one again the week of the release of the second movie. It was just difficult to focus because, I mean, I said it earlier, Civil War was cool. I enjoyed Civil War. Infinity War was cool. I enjoyed it. Like, literally, I was able to watch those movies over and over again and be invested in it like if it was the first time I was watching them. You know, the first Black Panther movie just didn't captivate me like that. I kept getting bored. I kept looking at my phone, and when I realized that I was watching the movie, I would rewind it in order to keep watching the parts that I missed. Just it wasn't good, you know. Well, anyways, I went to watch the second movie, and as I spoke a few months ago, I was very excited because one, they brought in Namor, and Namor is a mutant in the comics, so it's just kind of like they're well, I know they teased Ursa Major in the Black Widow movie, but he wasn't a bear like he was in the comics, so that didn't count. But Namor is Namor. So I was just like, Namor's a mutant. Let's see if they're going to make it official that mutants are going to be a thing, you know? And here's spoilers from this point forward. There's a bunch of spoilers. I'll put it in the title. I'll put it in the description. I'll say it right now. Spoilers. Don't keep listening if you want to experience the movie for yourself. But if you don't care, then whatever. Do whatever you want. There's this one line where Namor is explaining his backstory, his history to Shuri and everything like that. And he basically says the line, when I was born, I had ears pointed up to the sky, to the sun. I had wings on my feet. I was able to breathe water and air. I think he said that. I was born different, a mutant. And it was just like, what? I think that's the first time they ever uttered that word in the entire cinematic universe. The entire time these movies have been coming out, that's the first time they said the word mutant. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. So it was like a mutant, and I was like, ooh, there we go. And I was like, no. Well, anyways, let's start from the beginning. So again, spoilers. So how does the movie start out again? Oh yeah, here's the thing. The movie starts out with a whole entire scene dedicated purely to Chadwick Boseman, who played T'Challa, the Black Panther, in the MCU. It was very sweet because, as we all know, in real life, Chadwick Boseman had a cancer. He was fighting cancer for years, from what I remember. When he was filming the first Black Panther movie, he had cancer and he was fighting cancer. When he did Infinity War, when he did Endgame, he was fighting cancer. When he was voicing the What If storyline and everything, he was fighting cancer. And it may not be clear when it initially came out, but now when you look back at it, when it comes down to interviews, group interviews and everything, you can see that T'Challa he was so into the character that Chadwick Boseman was tired. He was having trouble staying up, and it sucks knowing that the reason for that was because what he was going through. Well, anyways, what was hella messed up was one day he came out on video after a while, and he was so skinny. Like, you could see his bones and everything on his face. And people were making fun of him. Coming out looking like a whole ass crackhead, this and that, you know? And then, like, a day or so later, he died. He died, and it was announced he was dead, you know? Super young guy, you know? Bright future ahead of him. But he died. And, so the whole beginning of the movie, or the opening of the movie, was basically, you know, a whole dedication of him. And the way they wrote his death off was that he was dying from an unknown illness, and Shuri was trying to construct a DNA with one of her machines and everything like that, but it kept failing, and she was trying to do everything she could, and it kept failing. And it was to try and save her brother, who, from what the movie said, was that he was hiding his sickness. Not hiding his sickness. He was refusing to ask her for any help until the very end. And at that point, it was too late, and they couldn't save him. So they ended up throwing him a funeral, Wakanda style. It was very sweet. There's some people out there that said it was probably bad taste that they should have just casted somebody else and dedicated the movie to Chadwick Boseman and everything like that, and try to explain the differences and everything instead of doing that whole funeral thing. I mean, this isn't Iron Man 1 and 2 where what's his name? Well, the guy who played Rhodey, they switched it from that one guy to Don Cheadle, Is it Don Cheadle? I forgot. Yeah, Don Cheadle. Because that was the aside from the Incredible Hulk movie, Iron Man and Iron Man 2 were the very first movies of the MCU. And so characters were established, but they weren't permanent. They weren't iconic in those roles and everything. So, it was, people still make memes about it despite it not being such a huge thing. T'Challa was a huge thing. Chadwick Boseman is a huge person and everything. So explaining why he immediately looks different, has a different body, different facial structure, different everything. It's not gonna just be people being like, oh well, that explains it, like, I'll get it, it doesn't make sense canonically, Delicious. So that's why it's just like, for me, I didn't mind that they threw that whole tribute funeral to him in the beginning of the movie. I actually thought it was very sweet. Then after that, they continued with the whole movie, and immediately they came in with their Wakanda is up top and regal. Every other country is garbage, especially the white countries are garbage and everything. Why do I say that? Well, because they're all together in the UN building and everything. Select nations and everything. And what do you call it? I thought when meetings like that took place, everybody had to be there, but apparently not, because everybody else is there except, the Queen of Wakanda. Rwanda, is that her name? I think so. And they finished saying what they needed to say first, and then they let her come in, make a grand entrance and everything like that. And it was just like, I don't think that's how it works in real life. Then again, I'm never there, so but I figured that everybody had to be present from the start in order for the meeting to officially begin. But whatever, it's a movie. So basically, what they were arguing about was that the whole plot, the whole ending of the first Black Panther movie was that T'Challa decided to open the borders, let Wakanda and its government and country be known to the world, and say like, hey, we have this rare metal. It's all exclusively Wakandan property, but we are willing to share for its benefits across the world. That's how it ended. In the beginning of the movie, two countries, I think it was France and the US, I'm not sure, we're all like, hey, Wakanda isn't delivering in its promise. They said they were gonna share the vibranium, but it's nowhere. They haven't given us anything, and it's been like a while already. And it's like what do you call it, then Queen Rwanda, I think it's wrong, but I think it's right at the same time. She comes in, and that's when they start the whole like, oh, look at this crazy scene. It was like, listen to Queen speak as to why they haven't given vibranium, but watch this other scene with her voiceover, showing Wakandan scientists in a ship, and then like the French military or mercenaries, whatever, break in, and then they start taking the Wakandans hostage and be like, open the safe and everything. And here comes when they open the safe, when they make the Wakandans open the safe and everything like that, because the French were going to take it by force and all that stuff. What do you call it? What was it? They have the Wakanda open the safe, and when the safe opens, guess who comes out? It's the Dora Milaje. They come out, and this is why I have a bone to pick with the Dora Milaje. Here is why. So, remember like a few episodes back when I was talking about the Woman King and everything and the epic failure and lies that it held? And I said they tried to be like a real life version of the Dora Milaje. Well, it was true. The reason I say that is because the Woman King tried to be like, we're women warriors and we're unstoppable. We're so good. While the Dora Milaje is just like, we're the best. We have no faults. And that annoyed me. Why? Because when they first came out in Civil War, well, like not all of it entirely or anything like that, just like a personal bodyguard here and there. But in Black Panther, when they were really known, they had this vibranium spear and their uniform, their shaved heads and everything like that. And basically it was the whole, we're highly trained in these martial arts. We're super highly trained in these martial arts that we've been training for every generation of Dora Milaje ever, you know? And we're good. Here's the thing. The Dora Milaje did not take super soldier serum. The Dora Milaje did not take the herb, the flower that gives the Black Panther his power. The Dora Milaje did not take any enhancements whatsoever, at least what the MCU hasn't established yet. But somehow the Dora Milaje can fight people who have had longer experience in combat with hand-to-hand weapons training longer than a single Dora Milaje has been born. They excuse, Wakanda martial arts. But let me ask you this. Wakanda martial arts, what kind of Wakanda martial arts lets you move over 1,000 miles per hour when fully automatic gunfire is shot in your direction? Remember that scene in X-Men Origins and everything like that, the movie, when you have Deadpool coming out, or Ryan Reynolds' character coming out, and he's like doing that rotating sword things and everything like that? Well, there's an excuse for that. He's a mutant. He's more enhanced than regular people. So there is a possibility. There's that disbelief of the suspension of disbelief that this man is able to actually block every single one of those bullets with his sword. He's a mutant. He's enhanced in a way. That's the reason. Well, here's the thing. In the newer Deadpool movie, in Deadpool 2 and everything, with Ryan Reynolds again, but he's actually the Deadpool, not that disgrace from X-Men Origins, they replicated that scene when Cable was doing that to him. So they replicated that scene. Here's the thing. He's a mutant. He's enhanced in different ways and everything. Well, did he establish that? Yes, because they said those experiments they did in the first movie were just to take what he has inside out and actually exploit it and everything. So he had the mutant gene buried in him. The experiment just had it expedited it out and everything. So he was enhanced in ways. Here's the thing. He's still able to block or cut in half those bullets with his swords. But even the movie itself, for Deadpool himself, established that he was unable to block every single one of them because he still took gunshot wounds to his chest and everything. So if Deadpool, somebody who is meant to do shit, stuff like that, isn't able to get them all, how is a Dora Milaje that has no enhancements whatsoever able to take a single spear and just stop every single bullet, every single automatic fire from a rifle just a few feet away from her and just stop every single bullet? You can't. It's a comic book movie. The thing that makes characters like Batman like how do you call it, interesting is the fact that he's human, that he works in this crazy superpower world as a human. The Dora Milaje, the thing that's supposed to be great for them is that, one, they look pretty cool. Two, their mad dedication to the throne of Wakanda. Three, that despite working guarding the throne of Wakanda and whoever's ruling the throne, having the powers of the Black Panther, that they are still human and they could still be of use. That's what's supposed to be interesting. But, just screw it. Whatever. Hey, this guy has a rifle like 5 feet away from you, and it's fully automatic, and he's like literally hitting you with all his ammunition. It's cool. Just block it with the spear. Oh, you can't process information as fast as a bullet can get from there to here? That's cool. Just block it. 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Enjoy the music, actually. 1 second. Alright, well, I'm back. 1 second. Turn that down a bit. Well, anyways, like I was saying, I had to use the bathroom. Sorry, guys. So I was saying, yeah, that annoys me. That really annoys me. Because there's other normal human beings out there in the movie that can't do anything that the Dora Milaje does, despite also being humans, despite also being extensively trained. It's ridiculous. It's like, oh, well, we have to have somebody doing these crazy stuff since, we don't have T'Challa here anymore, and we can't have T'Challa anymore because they burned all the herbs in the first movie, Well, how do you call it? The Dora Milaje stopped the French, and they don't kill any of them. Even though I swear I saw one getting stabbed in the chest with a spear. And knowing that the spear was vibranium and their plates were just steel, it should have killed him. But hey, vibranium medicine. So all of them live, all right? And here's the thing, those whole scenes were about an event that happened prior to that meeting with all the other UN and everything like that. So in order to while the Queen Rhonda, I think so, was doing her reasoning as to why Wakanda hasn't been giving vibranium, her excuse is like, you have been mourning a king. And he's like, okay, well, I'm sorry, but it's been over a year since the funeral. You've been mourning for a year? Well, guess what? Like, the whole world doesn't stop. You have obligations that your king made, and you have to fulfill now that your king is no longer here. So how do you say so it's just her reasoning was dumb. Oh, we've been mourning. Well, you still have to fulfill your obligations, Well, anyway, she brought in, she was like, vibranium is Wakandan property, and we're keeping it safe because of the harm that you guys will do with it and everything, which I get. I actually understand that. What do you call it? And then they brought in the 4 French soldiers, or was it 6? I forgot. They brought in the French soldiers in order to basically drive their point home and everything like that. Like, look, you sent your guys try to harm our people and steal our stuff, and we still stopped them. Here you go. And yeah, so they went back to Wakanda and everything like that. And then they showed Wakanda again. Still, despite being CGI, still looks very nice. Like, it's very pleasing to the eye. I may sound like I'm very harsh on Wakanda and everything like that. It's just the CGI is crap, and the story wasn't that good. It had potential, but it wasn't that good. It's just like, it doesn't matter where it's supposed to take place. It doesn't matter who the cast is. If the movie's not good, it's not good. So it's simple as that. Well, damn, my throat's sore. Damn. So I need one of these flutes. So they go back to Wakanda, and let me tell you, when I say this movie was too long, I love long movies, especially when it comes down to Marvel. Look at Endgame. I didn't care, or Infinity War. I didn't care how long those movies were. Even this newer Spider-Man movie, I didn't care that they were over 2 hours each. It was actually I wish it was actually longer. Wakanda Forever was too long because of this. I felt that it suffered because of the pandemic, for one. And for two, a lot happened from the pandemic to this day. A lot happened with the real, the real life cast. And so they had to do writes and rewrites and reshoots and everything like that. I get it. They were trying to basically mold the story around what's happened in real life. And it's difficult to do so and keep it consistent. But the story did, and the movie did, in fact, suffer from it. Because there were so many scenes that were just talking and walking and talking and walking and talking and walking, because they were trying to establish a story. They were trying to establish events and everything like that. Events that we should have seen happen, but couldn't, because of what happened in real life. And the more they talked, the more they walked, the more they talked, the more they walked, and it just kept going. And it's just like, this is something that shouldn't have been here. The movie should have been way shorter than what it was, and it probably would have still been good. Well, anyways, here is my favorite part. Well, my second to favorite part. When you had U.S. officials, I believe, looking for vibranium using their machine, and you see that the two people that they sent to see ended up disappearing, but they were in fear prior to disappearing. And then out came they're supposed to be Atlanteans and everything. We all know they're supposed to be Atlanteans. The only reason they're not Atlanteans is because Marvel Studios didn't want to go the same exact route that DC did when it came down to Atlanteans. They already had, DC has Aquaman, DC has the Tridents, DC has Atlantis and the Atlanteans and everything like that. So Marvel tried to do their own spin on it. Here's the thing. People don't realize that Namor came first in 1939. Yes. He was created first. That very same year, I believe, Marvel bought him and everything. So Namor was first before Aquaman, who was created years later. So everything that wise, Namor did it first, including the Tridents, including the underwater city, including everything else. In Marvel Comics, the Atlanteans are blue and everything when they're underwater. You kind of switched it up in the movie though. Well, here's the thing. Namor was supposed to be basically like, I believe, Greek or Roman and everything, because he had the trident and the way Atlantis was looked, with the pillars and the white stones and everything. Since they wanted to do a different spin on it and everything, they decided to switch Namor's trident for a vibranium spear. And instead of calling it Atlantis, they called it the city of Talocan, which that's actually an Aztec thing. And the rest is Mayans. And of course, like I just said right now, they made him from Greek, Roman, or whatever into Mayan now. So here's the thing. I'm not a fan when it comes down to switching people's races or switching established characters like gender and everything like that. I don't like it. Really don't. And I know this must sound biased, what I'm about to say, but for Namor, I did not mind. And I said it in my reasonings in my other video that I talked about before. The reason I didn't mind is because Namor, Atlantis is what is it? The sunken city, right? That people are still searching for. The lost city of Atlantis and everything. In modern times, in modern day, in real life, when it comes down to Mesoamerica and everything in Central and South America and all that stuff, you see all these grand cities. Everybody knows the pyramids. Everybody knows that cities used to be there. But what people don't tend to realize is that every single day, every single year, there is more and more discoveries that are being made to show that the cities were in fact way bigger than originally thought. More keeps getting discovered, more keeps getting like brought out to the public eye and everything like that. So there is a possibility that there could be a city that was once on land, you know, because the earth is forever changing, that was on land and then ended up like, you know, getting just absolutely submerged in water, you know, that hasn't been discovered yet. That's just my whole reasoning. But here's the thing. For the sake of being called a hypocrite and biased, as you guys know, I'm also Guatemalan. You know, families born and raised in Guatemala. I'm first generation Guatemalan American and everything like that. I'm Guatemalan. There's no mistaking me. But what do you call it? There's another character in the MCU that was race swapped, and that was Flash Thompson from Spider-Man. Spider-Man being my number one favorite hero and everything, forever and ever. Flash Thompson in the comics was this over 6 foot blonde hair, white skinned jock who picked on Peter Parker. But the new spin that they tried to do with Spider-Man in the MCU, they tried to make Flash Thompson more of a cyber bully type of thing and everything. The guy who plays him is Guatemalan, and I felt like he has been a terrible choice. I don't care that he's Guatemalan. I don't care that we're the same race or nationality and everything. I don't like him as Flash Thompson. He's bad. He's very bad. I wish they just kept the old style Flash Thompson. There was really no need to do this cyber bully style and everything. Why did they cast a Guatemalan for Flash Thompson? A Guatemalan who's shorter and looks weaker than Tom Holland. Why did they do that? That's dumb, you know? But, you know, there you go. 1 second. Oh, man, I'm drinking so much water. Excuse me. So yeah, damn, I'm really talking in this podcast. So yeah, they switched Namor up, and one of the things that they switched up. Remember how earlier I said how the Atlanteans are blue skin and everything underwater and all that stuff. Well, in the movie, they're not blue skinned underwater. They're only blue skinned when they come up to the surface. Underwater, they're their regular color. I love the way when they came out from the water, it was like sirens, you know, like the mythical creature of sirens that sing this beautiful voice, this beautiful song to attract fishermen to get close to them or whatever, anybody at sea, and then they kill them and all that stuff. It was like that. Started coming out of the water and they started singing, and the singing started entrancing all those on the ship who were looking for vibranium, and the singing caused them to mindlessly climb over whatever they were at, go into the water, fall down, and drown. It was insane, and it was cool. I like how they did that. I really like how they did that. Then they went back to Wakanda, and then they went back to the Wakandans, and then it was hella boring. And then they, like, you know, you have the Queen and Shuri out in a campfire, you know, talking about like Shuri. This is the part that I did like. I like how Shuri, you know, remember earlier how I said they try and keep their tradition and cultures alive and everything. That includes religion. Shuri actually had a more modern take where she was just like, listen, this technology works, but you know, I don't really fall in line with all your God talk and religious talk and everything, talking to spirits and everything like that. Just like, she was really questioning it. And even though the mother didn't like it, she was questioning it. She didn't want to fall into tradition and everything that don't displease the gods, you know? Well, anyways, that's the scene where Namor made his first appearance. His first official appearance. And oh my god, Tenoch Huerta, bro, this fool, an incredible Namor, or as he calls it. My boy gives me crap. He's like, it's not Namor, it's Namor, the Submariner. And I'm like, I've been calling him Namor since I was a kid. But Tenoch Huerta, when he was playing Namor, he didn't call it Namor, he didn't call it Namor, he called it Namor. Oh my god, that was suave, you know. He said it's suave in the movie Namor, you know. I just love it. He was just like, my people, they call me Akukulkan, but my enemies call me Namor. And I was like, oh my god, if I was a woman, bro, dead ass. But like, how do you call it? Yeah, so basically, you know, the whole thing, he wanted to find out who it was who built that machine, who was able to detect vibranium, because up until then, it was stated that there is no known metal detector device ever created on the face of the earth that can detect vibranium. It's undetectable and everything. Until one was created that led to, like, you know, the citizens of Talocan. How do you call them? How are you supposed to call them? I don't know. Talocan is like a heaven place for Aztecs. Like, that's like saying, like, you know, the city of heaven, the Heavenites, the Heavenisans. I don't know. So they end up finding out that the scientist that built that device to detect vibranium is actually a 19-year-old girl in college in Chicago or Detroit, one of those typical places, and Boston. I don't know. So what do you call it? It's Riri Williams. They introduced Riri Williams. And yeah, so basically, and here's the thing that they keep doing that keeps getting me so freaking annoyed and everything like that, because like, one, they bring back the colonizers. Oh, the colonizers and everything. Say, bro, relax. All right, that wasn't funny in the first movie. It's not funny the more you say it, you know. But it's just like, two, it's just like, we are living in a world. Well, they are living in the world where they have multiple famous iconic figures of history of any gender and of any race, and they have current living people of any gender and of any race who have proven to be one of the most intelligent people, the most capable people on the planet and everything like that. I mean, like, yeah, anybody is able to do anything. Take all of Spider-Man's 3 films, well, minus the very last one, and you'll see that diversity is just spewing out of that movie, you know? And just like, oh, we're in universities, here's more diversity, you know? We get it. For some reason, this chick, Riri Williams, I know it's not her fault. I know it's the writer's fault. But for some reason, they made her character, while she's in a university with so many different people of different genders and different races and everything that are also attending the university, she says, yeah, I'm a 19-year-old black genius. Can't believe that, right? You know? It's like, what does your gender and race have to do with how smart you are? It's like, you're in a university. It's like, that's... No one's... In fact, everybody believes it because they found you at a university. It's like, that's ridiculous. Well, anyways, they try and get her back, and she's hella loud. It gets annoying. And what do you call it? She goes to her workshop or whatever, and then they don't show her suit yet. That's supposed to be the Ironheart suit, the prototype one. But apparently, it's better than Tony Stark's Iron Man, like the Mark II. And here's the part that annoyed me. So they're all like, oh, well, we'll have her say she was working on it for a long time and everything. She's a genius. Because in the comics, she's a teenager and she's supposed to be way smarter than Tony Stark and everything like that. And they try and do that in the movies too. But he's not alive, so they can't really have any like measurement to do so except for this part. In the first Iron Man movie, when he made the Mark II and everything like that, and he was like blowing through the city into the sky, and he was like, oh, woo, and everything. One thing he did was go straight up into the sky, and he was exiting our atmosphere and stuff and going like to the stratosphere or whatever. His suit couldn't take it because his suit was freezing, and was shutting down, and he couldn't continue. And he worked on it. He had to work on it, and he was able to solve it before the movie was over. The thing about Riri Williams' suit was this. One, her entire body was not covered the same way that Tony Stark's Iron Man suits covered him. Not at all. It wasn't a full body suit or anything. It was more like a mech. More like an exoskeleton, kind of. And she was flying around. She made do with what she had. In one scene, during the car chase, here's another car chase that still was very lackluster. There was a drone way up there in the sky, where the air is super thin. There was a drone tracking them, and as long as that drone was up there, they would never lose, the people who are chasing them. She flies up there, and her suit's like, oh my god, it's very thin air. Oh my god, you'll freeze. Oh my god, you'll pass out. You'll die. Yada yada. This and that. She still pushes through. Her suit does not suffer. She's still conscious and blows up the drone. Then she free falls. And then she wakes up and continues. Her entire body was not covered. She should have been frozen. Just like Iron Man's suit was frozen in the first movie. But no, So it's just like, that really annoyed me. But whatever. Car chase is over. And then just when I thought it was boring enough, boom. My expectations get brought up again. Because here comes the citizens of Talocan and everything to come take the girl. And remember when I said earlier the Dora Milaje? Oh, let me just continue with the Dora Milaje real quick. Dora Milaje also annoy me because they're like basically like in Falcon and the Winter Soldier in that show. When they show up there, one, they're beating the hell out of Bucky and everything. The man who has been who has been fighting, who has been trained in multiple different styles, effective forms of combat, and been killing people, brainwashed or not, longer than their grandparents have been on the face of the earth and everything, and their parents and them and everything like that. They were just wrecking him. Why? Because we are the Dora Milaje. Why did they turn Russian? I don't know. But they're the Dora Milaje. And one of the lines that really annoyed me was just like, the Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje find themselves. Like, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Just because you have vibranium, you can do anything and everything like that. It's like, no. Hell no. It's like, if anything like that, you're disgracing what T'Challa wanted. And it's just like, it's ridiculous. But, what do you call it? Here's the thing. I said earlier that Dora Milaje were supposed to be like this, like, group of people who weren't super soldiers, but acted like super soldiers and everything. This is the part that I loved. When Okoye, I forgot her name, started fighting against one, she was getting her ass beat. She was trying to throw licks in, but she was getting her ass beat. And it was like, oh my god. Well, anyway, she got knocked into the ocean. It's hella cool. Whales came out. They took Shuri and Riri Williams back to their world, and then they met Namor, and then Namor is so dope. Like the entire movie, I just kept waiting, like, Namor show up and everything, because it was getting too long. And when he would show up, or anyone from Talocan would show up, I was like, oh dude, exactly, hella cool and everything. And I gotta wrap this up soon. I'm like, I had a full battery when I started, and now I'm like, it's dying. But like so like, he would finally show up. I'm like, yo, hell yeah, Namor's hella sick. So when he showed up, and he was in his poncho and his earrings and his just, oh my god, like, this fool, like, he was explaining his backstory. I love it. I love it. This is the second time Marvel has described a man without love. The first one was Moon Knight, and now you have Namor. They basically explained that right before he killed the Spaniard, as a child, the Spaniard looked at him and was like, "Eres un niño sin amor," and then he was like, and those words stuck with me, and that's how I gave myself my name, Sin Amor, Namor. And I was just like, damn, fool. They even gave his name an origin. It's not like he was just born with the name. They gave it an origin. So, like, it was just, like, insane. The lady who played his mom kind of reminds me of one of my sisters. That was hella trippy. But, like, yeah. But, like, so, they explained how they got to where they got, how he was born, the history of his people and everything like that. And it was dope. Actually, it was very dope. I liked it a lot and everything. So that's what I'm saying. I sound biased and hypocritical with everything that I said, but it's the truth. Like, when you have something fleshed out like that, it's actually really cool. He gave Shuri a tour of all of Talocan, and then, like, he was just like this. He was like, listen, I was perfectly fine with me and my people being away from the world's eyes and everything, us keeping to ourselves. But after she invented that machine and able to locate us, she located us. And that's why we did what we needed to do. It's like, Wakanda is the most powerful country on land. You notice how he said on land. He was just like, you're strong up there, but down here you have competition, bro. So like he was just like, if we unite our forces, we can protect each other and protect our resources. Because here's the one thing that Wakandans always said, vibranium is property of Wakanda. Because vibranium fell from space onto Earth to Wakanda territory. They claimed it. This is our resource. This is Wakandan resource and everything. That they didn't find out is that more vibranium had fallen at the time in the ocean, which Namor and his people were able to had claimed for themselves, which is how they built all of Talocan, which is how they put the equivalent of the sun in the ocean for his people. Gave him their garments, their armor, their weapons, and everything like that. And they grew their civilization. And he was just like, we can protect vibranium from others if we're together, but I can't risk that scientist leaving, which is why I have to kill her and everything, because she's the only one that's able to actually make a machine like that. And of course, Shuri didn't want Riri Williams to die, and he was just like, I need to know if Wakanda is a friend or an enemy, you know? And it's just, oh my god. Well, anyways, what was her name? What's her name? Black Panther's girlfriend, Kiana, was it? Nakia gets recruited back to try and find Shuri and everything like that. Okoye gets stripped from her position as a Dora Milaje and back as a regular citizen. And Nakia finds where they're at. Nakia kills 2 Atlanteans. And Shuri's like, no, we can't. We got to save her. You don't understand. If she dies, this means war. Well, Nakia didn't care. Took her. They all went back to Wakanda together and everything. Namor comes back after threatening the Queen of Wakanda. He's dope when he threatens her. He's like hella sick and everything. And then he goes back and he finds that the Atlanteans dead. And he's like, this means war. And he told her on the surface. He was just like, you are not ready for my people. You are not ready for the army that is Talocan. We will kill all of you. And he was holding on to his promise. I'm wrapping it up soon. Because as soon as he discovered that she died and everything like that, he went to Wakanda. They infiltrated Wakanda, and guess what? He was handling people. He was handling all of them. And he was the reason why the queen died. And it's just like, he was not, and that wasn't even his entire army. He was handling the country of Wakanda himself and a few people. That wasn't even the full wrath of Talocan. And it was just like, it was dope. It was hella dope. And he was like, hey, after he confirmed that the queen died, The next in line was Shuri and everything like that. And he looked at Shuri and he was like, "You're queen now. Make sure you make your right decision," and everything. And he dips. He just dips. And he's like, it's like, this guy's badass, you know? It's like, I'd be scared of him. And then, like, the whole thing ends. She finds a way to do the correct DNA to create the flower again that was burnt in the first movie. She takes the herb, finds out that instead of getting the spirit relative of somebody she loved, like her brother or her mother or her father or whatever, she ends up getting the spirit of Killmonger, because she finds out, even though she doesn't want to admit, they are both, their ideas, their mentalities are aligned and everything. It's a trip. So, like, yeah, well, friggin', she becomes a Black Panther. She has a suit for herself. This is the thing that pisses me off. It's one thing to come up with a plan to try and destroy somebody and everything who's clearly way better than you. It's another thing to just have so much plot armor, and that's exactly what happened. They figured out that Namor needed water in order to keep his strength up and everything like that, even just a small portion of it. So what did they do? They fought him in the ocean, and they managed to trap him in the ship cargo and just put pure heat in that cargo to, like, dry him out and everything. He managed to get his vibranium spear, break into the ship, crash land it, and while he's at like 15% strength, 15-20% strength, just lowering fast, he is still beating the hell out of a 100% Shuri Black Panther. She is enhanced, she has the vibranium suit, and she is 100%, and he is still at his very worst, beating the hell out of her. He is just handling her. And guess what? He grabs his spear and absolutely drives it into her gut. And not only drives it into her gut, he pins her onto the wall. Not only pins her into a wall, but starts moving that spear up and down, just screwing up her insides, you know? I get it. Low level health, like, how do you call it? Healing factor and everything. But healing factor doesn't mean crap when you're still taking a wound that should kill you. She's not Wolverine. She's not the Hulk. She's not Thor. She's not any of these characters. She is a low level character compared to the greats. So, what do you call it? That should have killed her, if not severely hindered her. But guess what? She just cuts the spear out, this big gaping hole in her body, and just does a forward front flip in front of him, blows up an engine, and then she has him yield and everything like that. It's insane how they ended it. They end up creating an alliance and all that stuff. Promise to protect each other, whatever. But in the end, Namor's playing the long game. That movie was sick only for Namor. That was it. Like, well, they did a dedicated thing to the end for T'Challa again, which I thought was also sweet. And mid-credit scene was basically introducing that T'Challa and Nakia had a child together. And he is the heir of the throne. But yeah, I'll talk more about it. I am running out of storage. I'm running out of battery. Great story so far. But yeah, I feel good. All right, thank you all for listening. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.